What would you do if one morning you woke up and discovered that every door and every window of your home had been sealed shut from the outside, and nobody could tell you why? No warning, no explanation, just an invisible force trapping your entire family inside the one place that was supposed to keep you safe. The Delgado family, Mother Ann, Father Jason, teenage son Graham, and young daughter Ruth try to leave their home one ordinary morning only to discover that every single exit has been sealed by a mysterious and completely invisible force. Netflix told them the doors will not open. The windows will not break. They are completely trapped inside. Outside their sealed windows, it is raining, but this is not ordinary rain. Moving through the downpour are strange silhouettes, figures that are not human, creatures that seem to have arrived with the rain itself. The review geek, anyone outside who is caught in the rain does not survive. The Delgados watch their neighbors die one by one from behind their sealed glass. The same thing has happened to every house in the entire neighborhood. Every family sealed inside, every exit locked by the same invisible force. The creatures move freely through the relentless rain outside, patrolling, watching, as if they are guarding something. Netflix told them nobody knows what they want. Nobody knows why this is happening. Nobody knows how to stop it. Jason is the kind of father who stays calm when everything around him is falling apart. He begins assessing immediately, checking every possible exit, testing every window, mapping the house for resources, and watches him work and does the same. They are a team. They have always been a team. That is the only reason they survive what comes next. And has a green thumb, she loves growing plants. This hobby that once seemed like a simple weekend pastime now becomes the most important skill the family possesses. She begins converting parts of the house into a makeshift greenhouse, growing edible plants along every windowsill, an available surface to provide the family with food. Jason uses every piece of engineering knowledge he has to solve the problems of survival one by one. He rigs systems to collect rainwater from the roof, dew and rainfall, becoming their only source of drinking water. He repairs and repurposes everything in the house. Every object becomes a potential tool. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is thrown away. Graham, the teenage son, struggles the most with the confinement in the early weeks. He is at an age when freedom feels like oxygen. Being trapped inside four walls with his parents and little sister while the world outside has turned into something unrecognizable is a particular kind of torture for a teenager with nowhere to direct his energy. Ruth, the youngest, is the most mysterious member of the family in ways that only become clear much later. She watches the creatures outside with a strange and intense focus that goes beyond fear. She studies them the way a scientist studies a specimen, as if she is not simply watching them, as if she is listening to them. Days become weeks, weeks become months. The family falls into a routine of survival, growing food, collecting water, rationing everything carefully, keeping themselves physically and mentally occupied. The review geek, they play games, they tell stories. They argue and make up and argue again. They do everything a family does, except go outside. They cannot go outside. Then the film makes a sudden and shocking jump forward in time. What felt like a few months of confinement is suddenly revealed to have stretched into years. The Delgados have been trapped inside their home for more than 5 years. Netflix told them the children are visibly older, the parents are visibly worn. The house has transformed into something between a home and a survival bunker. 5 years of complete isolation from the outside world. 5 years of watching the rain fall and the creatures move through it. 5 years of surviving on homegrown vegetables and collected rainwater. 5 years of not knowing why this happened, who sent these creatures, or whether the rest of the world still exists at all beyond their sealed windows. After 5 years, the resources are beginning to run out. The soil in N's greenhouse is becoming depleted. The collection systems Jason built are aging and breaking down. The careful rationing that kept them alive for half a decade is no longer enough. The mathematics of their survival have shifted. They can no longer stay inside indefinitely. The family faces the terrifying reality that the house which has kept them alive for 5 years can no longer sustain them. They must find a way out, not because they want to face the creatures in the rain, but because staying inside has now become just as dangerous as going outside. There are no safe options left. Ruth, now significantly older than the frightened child who first watched the creatures from the window, begins to do something extraordinary. She starts communicating with them. Not with words, with patterns, with rhythm. With something that exists between sound and feeling that neither of her parents can hear or understand. But the creatures respond. Ruth understands the creatures before anyone else in the family does. She has been studying them for 5 years, noticing patterns in their movement, rhythms in their behavior, something almost like language in the way they interact with each other. She cannot fully explain what she knows, but she knows things about these visitors that no one else in the family has figured out. And then Jason watched their daughter with a mixture of awe and terror. The creatures that killed their neighbors. The creatures that sealed them inside their home and destroyed their world. Their youngest child has somehow found a way to reach them, to exist in a space between human and visitor that nobody else can access. One of the creatures begins to behave differently from the others. It approaches the house not with the cold patrol-like movement of the others, but with something that reads almost like curiosity. Ruth calls this one a good visitor. She insists there is a difference between this creature and the others. Her family is not convinced, but Ruth is certain. The family makes the desperate decision to attempt an escape from the house. After 5 years of confinement, they are finally going to try to break out and face whatever is waiting for them in the rain outside. Jason prepares every tool they have and prepares everything they can carry. Graham steels himself. Ruth watches the good visitor. The visitors discover that the family is attempting to escape, and the attack comes immediately. The good visitor, the one Ruth has been communicating with, floods part of the house in a devastating assault. The review geek the family is fighting for their lives inside the home they have spent 5 years carefully maintaining and protecting. In the chaos of the attack, Jason makes a decision that crosses a line he never thought he would cross. He and his family manage to trap the good visitor, attaching a harpoon connected to their car and restraining the creature. Jason threatens to kill it unless the creatures outside open the sealed doors and let his family go free. It is Ruth who stops him. Her voice is completely steady as she tells her father that this visitor is good. That killing it would be wrong, that there is another way. Jason looks at his daughter, this girl who has spent 5 years listening to creatures her parents could never understand, and he makes the hardest decision of his life. He lets it go. Jason releases the good visitor. In exchange, the good visitor does exactly what Ruth believed it would do. It opens the sealed doors of the Delgado home for the first time in over 5 years. The review geek light and air pour into the house. The family stands at the threshold of an open door, staring at the outside world, unable to move for a long moment. They step outside. Immediately they are surrounded by other visitors, dozens of them, closing in from every direction. Then the good visitor moves between them and the approaching creatures and does something remarkable. It orders them to stop. The creatures obey. They part. They let the Delgado family through. The review geek 5 years of captivity ends in a moment of unexpected mercy. The visitors stop the rain completely. After 5 years of relentless downpour, the sky above the Delgado neighborhood finally clears. The creatures withdraw from the area entirely, moving away as a collective, leaving the devastated and empty neighborhood behind them. The Delgados stand in the sudden silence of a world without rain and breathe open air for the first time in 5 years. The neighborhood around them is unrecognizable, every house sealed and silent. No sign of any other survivors in any direction. The world they remember, the ordinary world of before, is completely gone. What exists in its place is something new and unknown and entirely without a roadmap. They are alive, but the world they knew is not. The family makes their way to their neighbor's property and finds a yacht moored at the water. It is their best chance, perhaps their only chance, at finding other survivors, other communities, other people who lived through what the Delgados lived through and are now trying to figure out what comes next for humanity. The Delgados take their neighbor's yacht and sail away from everything they have known, searching for a new home and other survivors. The review geek Ruth watches the water around them carefully. She believes the good visitor is still nearby, still watching, not as a threat, but as something else. Something that chose mercy once and might choose it again. The question that the film leaves hanging in the air is the most important one. Why did the visitors come? Why did they seal the houses? Why did they kill some people and not others? And why, after 5 years, did they simply leave? Ruth does not have all the answers, but she has a feeling. And her feelings about the visitors have never been wrong. The Last House is at its heart an optimistic story. For people who love each other trapped together in the most impossible circumstances, and love turning out to be the thing that keeps them alive longer than any resource or any plan. Time the visitors came with the rain, they left with it too. And the Delgados sail toward whatever the world has become, together, which is the only